Get me moving. Up. All right, let's get this in here. Okay. All right. Oh, shit. You see a cord? Yeah, you see a cord on the floor? Thank you. Get it connected on.
So there's a lot to talk about.
All right.
Got Sandra Bland case. You got the multiple police things of violence. We got what else we have? Of course, we're gonna debate about this stuff. There was something else that's going on. You know, shots out to the Queens, the Farrakhan thing.
Okay.
That's probably gonna be the biggest.
Yeah, he's supposed to be replying to it tomorrow or Saturday or some shit. Okay, great. There you go.
So do we need the mics?
You know what? So why I have the mics is our people next door. That's what we use for the church on Saturday, and it worked perfectly.
Okay, so we need the mics then, right?
And you have to turn it on. Yeah. Is your mic posted right on top? Yes.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Okay, let's okay with that. We're gonna jump right on. Let's see. Make sure I got this right here.
They sound like they about to come right now.
Yeah, it's supposed to. Keon is chopping away on that side room now, so that's been good.
Oh, okay. So how far we to the close to that?
I gotta go look at it. He was in here on Saturday. So on Sunday, he was here the whole weekend, honestly. Like going after he get out work and stuff, he was coming in. All right, we live, Barry.
Yo, check it in. We in? We good? Okay. Just being honest. Connecting with the Black experience. Once again, it's Barry Axis. And of course, you already know the fantabulous Mama Roll. What's going on, Queen?
Peace, brother. Peace.
Oh man, you know, it's been one of those weeks already for me. I don't know about you. Hopefully everything's well with you in your world. Your space. Looking elegant.
Thank you.
I'm trying to figure when you're gonna have a repeat special. You know
I have them all the time.
Oh, I ain't seen that one yet. You know what I mean? So yeah, we got a lot. We have an action-packed show because there's a lot to get into. This might be the first episode where me and Mama Ro really get into it because we already had it extinguishing already. I'm not too. I myself just we at odds right now. So this
but
might
it's
be
good eyes.
It might
That's
be.
That's how you move forward.
Man, because I got some answers. She got some questions, and I got some questions, and she got some answers.
Right on.
And we're gonna get it in. But looking at what it is and what's not, as we try to get folks to chime in, you know, I'm currently in a place where I'm very angry. Like my mood is shitty today.
Why is your mood shitty today?
It's just first of all, I lost my car keys.
Barry, that's like the second time you lost.
No, this is deep now.
Is
It's
it
like
really?
it's not. It's
Uh-oh.
like I was here all day at my store, at my office, because got the store, and of course I got the office for the nonprofit, whatever. We doing business over here, folks. And
I
if they
know.
don't know, and like I literally did some, supported black business. Shouts out to brother Nasir, who's running the African House in 2251 Florin Square. And next thing you know, OG was at my store, right? Hidden Gems. Shouts out to my business partner, Passion P. And I was going to give the OG a ride, and I looked for my keys because my keys fell off of the rest of the keys. You know how you have your keys, right? And I've been dealing with this for a while, so I didn't even really trip. I just kind of, I'm very careful. So I thought, next thing I know, I look for my keys. I can't find my keys. So I don't walk all the way over here about 10, 15 times, and all this other kind of stuff happening. And I had to, tow my car to my crib. Don't have a spare.
Tow your car?
I had to tow the car, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had my brother, because I had bought it for my brother, and it's a whole other conversation with that. So next thing you know, I'm sitting here at my crib, had a Lyft, and I know Uber and Lyft, their folks are having a strike, so I had to kind of cross that line. And I felt powerless, right? I felt powerless, and the fact that I had no ability, because it's one thing I could do A, B, and C. If my car is messed up, I go get it fixed, right? But I felt powerless in the fact that I couldn't get this key made because of some other things that I don't even want to discuss on this podcast. But I couldn't get what I needed to get done. And as I woke up not only frustrated about that, but frustrated about everything that's going on outside of my minute problem, because I'm going to figure it out eventually. But at that particular time, I wasn't figuring out. I was pissed off. I was like, yo, Con Man done went from another level to angry man, and just being powerless to be able to navigate and move when I wanted to made me feel, whoa, I feel this is kind of like how Black generations have felt for so long, and currently feeling powerless, though we have the power to do so much. It's almost like feeling that we don't have what we need to move us forward. Not having my key didn't enable me to move forward or move and navigate the way I wanted to. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, right on.
So it's like that idea of being powerless, though we are powerful, and it led me to seeing all on my timeline, for whatever reason, multiple accounts. One, you looked at the Sandra Bland, the perspective of her, right? 4 years after the fact, right? Then we get to see her video of what actually happened.
Right.
Then a few days before that, Oscar Grant, the report comes out that other officers that were on the scene really instigated the situation to a higher plateau compared to what the reports were, that they were in immediate danger and blah, 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 as well as, I want to say his name is Ronell Foster. I might have got his first name wrong. Young man from Vallejo who got killed by police. That video of what's going on or what really actually happened has come out compared to what the police said, as well. And it keeps on going. This young man in Torrance, California, the one video that I saw, and then I said, you know what, I'm done. I eliminate myself from constantly watching these videos, because all it does for me is get me angry. And watching this young man in Torrance, California, actually just literally be assassinated. Everyone else has gotten assassinated, but literally from the time of the direction, from the officer asking, what are you doing here? He's like, did I do something wrong, officer? Officer say, put your hands up. I got my hands up, officer. He's following every direction. And then to be assassinated and executed when the officer now is creating his scenario. What are you doing? What are you doing? All these different things. And you don't see what's actually happening, but the gunshots, trauma over trauma over trauma, fulfills my timeline, and it builds my brain where I no longer want to be on the streets marching. I don't want to be in these rooms delegating, coming with solutions. I want to be as violent as the police because that's what they really truly understand as violence. Because then I look at it on the flip side, I am trying to figure out how do these white mass shooters, domestic white terrorists, every single time, maybe a few occasions, if they've taken their own life or maybe have been killed by a law enforcement officer on the scene, a majority of these white shooters, mass shooters, just recently, just in Colorado, another shooting at a STEM school, and the young man walks unscathed, arrested. I constantly am saying to myself, we have all the power, but remain powerless. And I'm frustrated, I'm angry because this is our reality, a reality that I believe we're playing in because we're rewinding all of these times. And I understand we want to bring out awareness. I do get that. I understand we want to bring out truth. But for me, it wears me down seeing it often and seeing it again and again, and then streamlining to figure out that there's no justice, there's no accountability, there's no transparency. And on top of that, watching other allies or comrades believing in their mind that they can go ahead and work with these folks and come with some resolution and some solution. And that's kind of like where our argument kind of lies. And it wasn't necessarily about that, but if we're saying, okay, there's some other folks that are doing things and it's not to the level maybe that I want, it's not to the level that I see us proceeding, because I look at it on a us thing compared to a, well, individual thing. And I'm not saying that you're saying individuals at all. You're not. But I'm saying I don't get the process of some individuals when we're at war, right? We're totally at war and they're taking photo ops, they're shaking hands. And when I say shaking hands, because I've seen officers, they greet me, I'll say hello because I'm not a rude person, right? I'm not this go F yourself kind of dude. That's just not how I'm raised until it's really down the bottom with me. It's going to be fuck you. But the reality is, I'm not going to get into no pictures with some officers and say, hey, like we're building the community, because there's so many different things that have been left unsaid. There's so many different things that they have not responded to, that they've been silent about, right? That is crucial to me. And I look at that and I'm watching folks, whether they're on panels with these officers, and then they're on panels with officers and they're being light. You know what I'm saying? They're not like, I get being on a panel with a police officer and being hardcore. I love that. Like, bring me on a panel and I'm going to be unapologetically, and I'm going to give them the most uncomfortable experience that they've had. But when Nichols is on here, really kind of playing this role and this idea that's not true, that we together have to kind of bring this healing to our community or work together in these silos to bring better relationships between police and the public. I laugh at that because that's a joke, that's a lie. Just in Sacramento, a young 12-year-old was brutalized by Sacramento PD, as well as the fake police officers, the security. He had about 10 different officers on a 12-year-old. And I don't know what the 12-year-old did. I heard that he was running from someone and he was trespassing. I mean, whatever the security guard said, but it was like, well, how the hell do you guys have to handcuff, throw a bag over this young kid's head, do multiple things for this young kid here in Sacramento and in the Del Paso Heights area as well? And we want to talk about good policing. We want to talk about how they're building communities. And when I had 17 young kids that were in front of my store, acting up, acting like teenagers, throwing rocks, being loud, and I came up to them and I said, hey, y'all, had a conversation with them, and I said, yo, meet me at McDonald's in 20 minutes. And that's 17 young kids that don't know me from shit. I ain't got no badge. I ain't got no handcuffs. That I went over there, discussed and talked with them. And you know what, Mama Ro? What? I seen two of those youngsters the other day in the grocery store. One of the things I said in the conversation, that that got shared by Ellen DeGeneres on her Ellen Nation. You know what I'm saying? My picture and the thing I did got shared, which was surprising. She shared that out on Monday, as well as Frank Somerville from a news station out there in the Bay that's really popular on social media. They shared this kind of thing that I usually do, right? It's not like a big deal for me, but it's something of, like, I call it a random act of real, just being real. What I saw when I saw the youngsters, the following, yesterday, two of them said, hey, because I asked them, I said, yo, what I need y'all to do, get good grades, man. Be the best you can be. Be as excellent as you're supposed to be. The one of you young kids in the picture was like, yo, I'm getting better grades than all them. I got all my grades up. And the other kid was like, no, I got the best grades now. That influence of real inspired those kids. So the next time they saw me, I didn't even recognize them because I was walking, I was moving so fast. But you know how like you hear whispers and you see someone pointing at you, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's up, my youngsters? I went over there, hollered at them, and they first thing they said wasn't, when we gonna get McDonald's again? It's like, yo, I got my grades up. I'm doing better than everybody. I know I'm doing better. They were excited about excelling.
Right on.
But here we have in Sacramento a 12-year-old youngster. Mind you, these 17-year-old 17 kids were at least from 11 to 15 to 16, right? Mm-hmm. We take them to McDonald's, make sure we get it right. But here's this 12-year-old youngster, right, is being held by slave catchers like they caught a slave. I have a problem with that because we have not done enough to protect our youth. We have not done enough to protect our women. We have not done enough to protect our communities. Because if this is the kind of policing that we're going to have in minor incidents, because I don't know what the 12-year-old, he ain't nothing but like 4'5". That could have been so crazy to where they had to apprehend him to that way to where they couldn't call his parents and be like, yo, come pick up your son or figure out some other method to work with him. We're in trouble. We're in trouble if we continue to have policing that evolves in a fact of lies, cover-up, terrorism, assassinations, executions, murder, corruption, racism, bias. If we continue to have that, and then we're talking about folks are coming to the forefront trying to create a change, how does that change? Because we have had 3 incidents, high-profile incidents, that have now come up and said, well, there's more evidence here. 10 years ago with Oscar Grant, 4 years ago from Sandra Bland, and now we're just talking about the evidence that is based where everything else was covered up beforehand. To me, that's a major issue.
Sister Arobia said, could you expand on why it's important to focus on the youth?
I think that is because the youth have the opportunity, the chance to not be as jaded as a lot of us older folks are. I feel like some of us older people who really know their history are challenged by fighting against the powers that be, have felt that the only way of making it is being accepted by white people, as well as I don't believe they have the fight or the know-how to really build Black the way we built Black in the 60s, where we went build Black in the 40s and the 50s, because really a lot of them, I don't even really think they saw it, but I don't think they were the designers of that, right? I think they were the folks that saw it, but they weren't the builders of it. I think the builders of it, a lot of them are dead, right? A lot of the folks that were the builders, the foundation of what we looked at as Black Wall Streets, are either too old or dead, right? And of course, I think they got paid the heavy penalty for them even attempting to build Black, right? So I feel like now, if you get a generation to understand its worth, I think it's easier for us to navigate, to be compelled into understanding what this looks like compared to being told. Because what I was told in my time when I was an 80s baby, a 90s teen, right, was go to school, get a job. There was no building. There was no have your own. There was no ownership. Though my dad did everything he possibly could to keep me and my brother on the straight and narrow, it was the basic commonology of white supremacy. Do so you can do for them, right? You know what I'm saying? And you can stay out the way. Instead of really like being revolutionary, saying, hey, get some of this education, understand the system of white supremacy is real here, and do for self. Dad, what's do for self mean? Nigga, this is what it means. The common breakdown. And if we don't understand that two of the most revolutionary things we could do as Black people is building Black and loving Black. And when I say loving Black, loving your brother and your sister as your own, loving your fellow man and woman as your own, marrying, if you're going to be with someone, being with a Black person. And I'm not here to argue with people that are biracial or other relationships. That's cool. Do what you do. But I feel like the most revolutionary thing is for us to come from that and for us to get outside of people of color. I'm not a people of color. I'm a Black person. You know what I'm saying? Because people of color don't got nothing to do with us.
You ain't never lied, Barry.
So I guess we're gonna agree for a little bit right now. Because we ain't got that. That has nothing. So I really feel that if we don't educate our young people, I was so thrilled that one of my young nephews who's in the military, he hit me up and said, shout out to my nephew. He said, how can I build my credit? And I was like, well, nephew, this is the steps. Do this, do that. And he was excited. It wasn't like, I need to go get the Porsche truck because he could get it because he got enough money because he's making enough money in the military. It's like, I need to build my credit. And I understood that from there, what I was doing, illustrating all the things that I was doing as an example, whether it's on social media or the things that I've said to him, it was making sense. And now, if we can't be those great examples for our youth are going to live in the same kind of obscurity as we are. Because you got to remember, some of us are just now figuring out that it's important to build Black right now in 2019. Because we all kind of got jaded on the idea of believing America was for Black people because we saw our entertainers being highlighted. We saw a Black president. We saw Black quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? We saw that. We saw a lot of Negroes in the mainstream in places where they had never been. But the scheme and the plot has always been that white people have always loved Black culture, but they've never loved Black people.
Well, Barry, right on. Let me first start by saying that. I think everything you said was ditto. I just believe that I personally don't know everything. So I try not to ever speak from all, because I don't know all. I've traveled a lot of places, worked with some amazing people through the years, but I still don't know all. Sometimes it's like we'll be speaking like we know something as a fact, and then there's people doing stuff that we said nobody did before. So I just think you have to pick your battle, pick your field, your battle, and fight it. I don't think there's no roadmap to how you do this. I don't think there's no blueprint to this. I think it depends on where you are. Being in the South is not like being in the North. Being in the North, damn sure ain't like being in the West. Being in the middle of the country ain't like being on other sides of the country. So it depends on what it is. I can't imagine. I have a lot of respect for a lot of Southern people who fight because they got to be there in the history with people who their descendants are there still holding up white supremacy like it's their culture. I've never experienced that. I've never been somewhere where there's been a Confederate flag mixed in the state flag in somebody's front yard, like in Mississippi.
Crazy.
I've never seen. I thought maybe I was tripped when I first went to Mississippi. And I was like, ain't that the Confederate flag? And they said, that's the Mississippi state flag. I said, what? So to live in the belly of the beast for real, not only because usually it's kind of safe when you're facing the water for some reason. When you're on the outskirts of America, it's a little different. Not saying it ain't dangerous, but it's a little. There's something about being in the deep South where Black people have been so brutalized. This morning coming in when I was listening to that, David Banner was basically talking about the programming. He says, when you have a computer and somebody installs a virus on it, do you blame the virus or do you blame the programmer who put the virus on there? But then what do you have to do? You can't call a programmer back. You got to figure out how to clean it up or whatever. But I feel like sometimes when we're talking about Black struggle, we don't consider certain things or ways to move around it. I'm always amazed that in the crack era, when we had Black men having whole empires and selling drugs, even though I disagree with it, it was amazing how they figured out how to come up with a system. It was amazing how they took over a whole apartment complex. So I just know that when we want to be brilliant on some shit, we'll show up very brilliant. We'll show up like that. But when we don't want to fight, then we just start complaining and talking about the white man. This man has always been who he is. America was founded on slavery, on murder, on the whole nine. So why would somebody deviate from a program that they know that absolutely works? Correct. I just never understood that. I never understood how we'd be really upset with people when we know what's going on. Okay. So, thank you. So when we know, I can fix that. Okay. Thank you so much, Sensei. I was over here just so anyway, y'all, so when we know that. So I think the history, that's why it's important. And I get you, Barry. Some people be knowing history, but all they can do is talk about, how the man and all that. I can't do that, y'all. I get it. See, my thing is I know it, but I don't have to talk about it. My job is to figure out how do we get around it? How do we go through it? When I'm studying history, I'm like, how did they do it? When they was lynching people right out and having barbecues while they was lynching people, not lynching you like taking you to court, and then they're gonna put their whole family on the juror, and then it's just really. But I'm talking about where they publicly lynched people, and then burnt them up and all kind of stuff. How do they make it through that time when I'm standing here dealing with their descendants? Because these are their descendants, folks. I know y'all don't want to hear that. Because some of us have married these people and had kids with these people and work with these people and hang at their house with these people. And that's okay. But my thing is that have enough respect when you really love your ancestors and you don't let people just treat y'all in your kind of way. But again, Barry, I think it goes back to a value. And I think with Black folks, I really wish there was a magic bullet, but I know there is no magic bullet with Black folks. That I honestly know there's no magic bullet. I wish I knew there was something, it's hard. Somebody said it'd be easy for Black folks if we could all agree that we was Black. I don't care if you baby Black, yellow Black, black, side Black, Kodak Black, no, I'm just kidding. But whatever Black you is, even if we just agree on that and that had value. Because the one thing about white supremacy, we don't want to admit this, but it does have value. Poor white person would rather be poor and white than to be rich and Black. Wow. Yeah. I know we don't want to, because we sell these little stories. Oh, we could just do this. We're always trying to prove ourselves. We built America, folks. What else proof do you need? Yeah. What else do you need? You owe me right now. You are in debt to me right now.
Like we in debt to the Asians.
Right. And they don't even talk about it. They just go about their business. I ain't never seen no Asian people try to convince somebody that they was the first. Inside of their folklore, they're supposed to take over the whole world. Yeah. Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think they probably on target.
Oh, they're definitely on point. I just and excuse my energy, because I just find it frustrating again that we are at this place where, first of all, the Negro feels that we have to be opposition to each other, right?
Right on.
And not respecting that other folks, though I may not agree how they may maneuver, I may critique certain things. I won't out certain folks in a public place because this is not what my nature is. And I just don't see that it does anything. And at the end of the day, I'm looking at the work the person is doing. Right. And if that work overlaps some of the ignorance, and not saying the ignorance that's detrimental, but the ignorance that is like, well, this nigga still thinks that, going to a burning house with 2 extinguishers is going to, make the house not burn down. I mean, I get it, but I don't respect the fact that some people will really honestly believe that they have the Mind Stone that's going to change, especially an organization of law enforcement that has been ingrained and is embedded and has been birthed from the enslavement and the racism and the genocide of Black people. It was deemed slave patrol, aka slave catchers. This is who they were. This has not changed. This coexists currently. We have a Black officer that did the same exact thing as white officers. He killed an Australian white woman. Australian. I say that because it means a lot more than just a white woman. Australian. So instead of having a global nightmare, What did Minnesota do? And mind you, there was 2 Minnesota officers that killed 2 people, almost seemingly within a year from each other at the same particular time. I'm not knowing the date. Y'all folks can chime in and let us know. You had a white officer getting away with killing a black man. When asked, can I get your registration? A black man's going for his registration. The officer kills him because he said he thought he was going for a gun. To where a white woman, Australian white woman, gets killed, and the black officer using the same kind of identity, and that identity is their speech of feared for my life, felt that I wasn't safe, blah, blah, blah. And he gets 20 years. A black Muslim man, let me add to that.
Yeah.
I got to remember, I can't just say a black officer, a black Muslim officer. So when you look at that, and this is in the same state of what? Minnesota. You look at that, how quick and how swift justice was, as well as the Australian white woman's family gets the biggest settlement of $20 million for their grieving. I just stand to try to realize, am I in the twilight zone? I stand to try to realize, well, we don't have nothing but cell phones in our voices. We ain't ready to shoot back. We got to do something different that will not allow them to even step foot into our communities, because we have to be able to build our communities, and we have to be able to navigate in our communities to where we can collectively talk to some youngsters. Because what I know when looking at buying some property, or we were going to buy into this business, one of the things when I was talking to the investors that wanted to do it was the location. And when I showed them pictures, because I wanted to be very transparent on what we were about to get ourselves into, it was like, whoa. Because they counted about 10 Negroes outside the front of the store. Not in the store that we were going to get, but they were there. The area, the location. Black people fear black people.
Wow.
Just like cops say they fear black people, but in reality, they really don't. They just know they can get away with killing black people. So there's no fear in line. That shit's out of the question, yo. I don't buy that for nothing. Police officers do not fear for their life. The statistics will prove that if there's police officers getting shot, it's white people shooting at police. It ain't black people.
That's real talk. I agree.
They know the statistics, and they know that we often harm ourselves more than others. Because if it really was that way, trust me, there'd be a lot more black bodies on the streets. Because police had the one challenge, and it was when the Panthers started gearing up arms, and that's what made them a threat. Not necessarily that they walked onto the state capitol. It was the simple fact that you could go to their neighborhood and you would get shot. It wasn't the fact that they came to the capitol. It was like, wow, we could go to this neighborhood and some niggas will come kill us. And that's why they killed Fred Hampton the way they did.
Right on.
Right? They went in and assassinated him with his boy dropping a dime. And that's a natural thing that Negroes love to do.
Out the blueprint.
Yeah, the black people with COINTELPRO, we like to snitch on each other. We like to give up our goods for the white supremacists. That's another issue I have a problem with. And so when you break down the idea of it all, when you look at how they strategically attacked us from all different bases, and now us using the guns on each other, not on them. And this is not advocating kill police, because we know police are chiming in and listening, because we know folks are getting boycotted on Facebook and other social media platforms for speaking truth to power. We're going to talk about that in a second. The reality to me has to become that we have envisioned so much death and so much trauma, and we haven't been able to identify the death and trauma in our own communities and our own dysfunctions that have created more fear in us. Because I just read a story about a 3-year-old girl in Queens, New York. That father chained her up in a burning car and let his daughter to die over a dispute over custody.
I can't.
You get what I'm saying? So right then, it's like, here we're dealing with this piece, but then there is this whole other piece that we have to deal with. Now we're confronting things that have so been out of the norm? Has abuse been a part of the Black culture? For sure. I was an abused child. But it's gotten to the point now that I'm going to say, oh, Mama Ro, oh, you going to leave me? I'm going to show you. I ain't going to show you by doing something myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you by taking our kid and using that child as a sacrifice. And that coward, because he felt the flames, the burning of that fire, he jumped out the car and left his baby there to burn. She later died at a hospital. This is not white supremacy. This is a Black father that birthed this child with this woman that has now killed his own. So we have these two different facets that we're uniquely in junction to and connecting and really hammering every single time we turn around and think that we can just focus on the battle against white supremacy. We turn around and there's 5 different stories of our own supremacy against each other.
You never lied on that one. Now you, that's kind of deep, Barry. So here's the thing, that's one of the battles. We have battles on so many fronts. I find that when you talk about white supremacy, you get Black folks' attention. When you talk about Black accountability, it goes silent.
I think it's now white supremacy has become the norm because we've made it the norm. Because before we couldn't talk about white supremacy.
So
it was a look at us different. Now it's the nuance that everyone, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. Most people started learning about white supremacy when Hidden Colors came out. Shouts out to the brother Tariq.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? But that's the truth,
that's true, though.
You know, because as we talk about Black accountability, right? What does Black accountability look like? You know, how does that stand in the Black community? Because we so often share the trauma of what the law enforcement officers have done, but literally the 3-year-old, there was a murder-suicide in Fresno. There was another story in Atlanta where the stepmother starved the 10-year-old child, and the father was complicit in the cover-up. And there's been I want to say there was another story that just kind of blew my mind as well. Right now, currently, there's a story. I don't know if it's in Southern California, but there's another story of a possible 3-year-old that might have got kidnapped by the father. So there's all these things like domestic violence, community violence, sexual abuse in our community. It runs rampant to where we can't even identify to even really latch on to the correction of this because we're so focused on what they're doing. And I think what they're doing allows them to keep on doing it because they see the headlines, they look at the story, they see what's going on. They're like, y'all niggas don't give a shit about each other anyway, so we gonna treat y'all just the same way you treat each other. And we're gonna eliminate y'all because that's what y'all doing anyway. And I think that becomes the biggest threat for us. The biggest threat for Black people is Black people.
Wow, you didn't say the mouthful there, Barry. You didn't say the mouthful there. I just think it's really hard for us to look at accountability. I think that's how people also, too, sometimes it's hard to rock with people who don't have accountability. It's hard to be in those circles where you have to hold yourself accountable if you didn't do something you were supposed to do. I hate this. I keep hating to go back to this time, y'all, but there was so many lessons. The time of the crack era. When you didn't do certain things, God damn it, it was an account. It's like you almost couldn't hide, if you was in that life. And I feel like, well, damn, I mean, though they had the wrong product, they were basically doing some things, how you build a nation, how you build a corporation. Even with number 45, even though he's doing some crazy shit, his people still backing him up. And I'm pretty sure they had a little meetings behind the closed doors we never gonna know about. Hell, America folded their arms and was like, well, we gotta, we don't want to look too bad before the world.
Yeah, most definitely.
So we back this fool up. I mean, in terms of the nation. So we don't want to look like we're not civilized, even though we do uncivilized shit all day long.
Yeah.
That's a part of America's fiber is to be uncivilized. If I had to be honest with you, because nothing was more uncivilized when they annihilated the Native Americans. Nothing was more uncivilized when you had people enslaved and brutalized and terrorized them and lynch people, cut off their testicles and all kind of other shit. Nothing's more uncivilized when a cop body slams a Black woman, Black girl. I know you see that video.
Yeah,
body slams. Like, how do you do that?
And that's the thing that I'm saying, Queen. Sandra Bland We find out the truth about that, but we already knew for every idiot that said, "Oh, she killed herself," or any idiot that said she should have listened to the police. You have a police officer putting out his stun gun, going crazy, like over a traffic violation. Then you got a police officer because this girl is not listening. She's moving around. She ain't a danger to nobody. So instead of being able to apprehend her, he body slams her like he's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And she's Randy Savage.
Yeah.
And what happens? Does the mother go over there as much as she tried to, or whoever, whether the other female, I don't know if it was the mother, whatever family member was there, do they go in and get themselves possibly killed? Because if you rush the officer, not only if you don't get killed, you get charged for an assault of the officer. So it's almost like a catch-22. But here are all these things, and all these things have happened in the last week. These multiple different things. This whole last week, just at the start of the week, we're only on Wednesday. And you got all these things that we're dealing with, and that's traumatic, because nothing ends up happening. Yes, a few people get paid out, but getting paid out for something that should have never happened don't make you feel good because you never get that life back. And there's no justice. Right now, currently, the two officers that killed Stephon Clark are doing what right now?
What are they doing?
They're working. They're working. So when I watch my Negroes sit here and be in these conversations and be in these different community platform conversations, and they have officers right there, and they don't bring up conversations like, well, why are these officers? What are we doing about these officers? Like, are they getting fired or what we doing? It's just, to me, it bewilders me. It's like, well, so y'all niggas is just gonna just avoid everything and pretend like, nah, well, what we have to do as a community is we have to stand tall. No, I'm not gonna stand tall with them, man. I'm not, because I can't trust what they do. I just can't, because numerous times they've shown me what they will do and what they have to do to continue to keep white supremacy in existence and to keep white power in the top of the fold and the top of the mountain. I mean, we have to figure out a way to regulate it by navigating spaces to where we really build in this blackness in such an unapologetic way to where it doesn't mirror anything more than ourselves. And I look at Negroes and all they do, and yeah, we went back and forth about how certain folks are doing it in different ways. So I like to throw it. How is they doing it in a way that is helping us? Because all I see is a constant murder, constant conflict, and this constant situation that Black people are stuck in. So what are Negroes doing that's progressing us?
Well, I don't know what Negroes are doing, but I can tell you what Africans are doing. I can tell you what Black folks is doing, because Negroes really don't do nothing but hold up systems. That's what Negroes do. But I think there's a lot of us out there, especially in my travels, and just being connected and learning, always learning. I think they're doing what they can to provide safety, to provide some jobs and some opportunities. I think they also have to combat. We're not just at war with white supremacy. We're also in an eternal war, like being around people who don't share your same values. See, I'm always amazed that I love when David Banner said, and he talked about himself, because I'm not a rapper. He said, when we was like money over everything, and then we got mad when the kids went to go get the bag. It takes a lot to have accountability to say, I helped to push that narrative. And now I got to go back and fix it. Because if I think about all the people who really fed on the Black community in the 80s and 90s in particular, if those people came back in their communities, not wanting to hand out like, yay, welcome back. No, let me get to work because I really messed up some stuff. And I need to fix some stuff. So that's what I see people doing, Barry, to the best of their ability, with sometimes limited resources. Because, when we had all the money when we were drug dealers, we didn't really buy up the block. We, again, wanted to move out where there was other people. We still want to be next to the person who was going to arrest you, who didn't even want you in their neighborhood. It ain't like we did that and like the Italians did and made Vegas. With their illegal stuff, they went and made a whole city. Couple of cities, Atlantic City, Vegas. So I'm just saying, I just think people are doing the best that they can. And I think that the issue is, not the issue, what we struggle with is how do we support each other where we can, but we don't have to be exactly on the same page as most people. It's like if I know somebody's really good at like making forks or whatever, as an example, I would go buy my forks for them, but I wouldn't ask them to make a spoon or a plate. They ain't what they do. They just do forks. I feel like sometimes that's the hardest thing for us is to figure out where do we work well at and work it from there. Because I feel like we have a lot of brilliant minds, but we also have a lot of people who didn't get nurtured and didn't get fed, and so their ego becomes it's kind of like a little kid. Sometimes when they get some attention, they use their goddamn mind, especially if they're not used to getting any attention. Yeah. We just go crazy. I think that's the same way. We don't like, could Malcolm really exist with Dr. King? Well, we'll never gonna find out, but they made it seem like the two of them couldn't exist in the same time and place when we know they can. Hell, we got Russia existing at the same time as the United States. They're not in the Cold War no more. We got we got people existing in the same time frame and period. And they may be at opposite eyes, like I really don't even like the Russians. I don't like them Americans, but damn it, we all hate the Africans. So let's just get together on that and continue annihilating these people or whatever. So that's what I think, I don't think it's like, I think people do the best they can with what they have. And I'm gonna take a page out of our oppressor's book, because one of the things he's really good at doing, not saying that he don't have flaws, but he know how to close ranks and he know how to let you know, Negro, that is not your business. This is family business and you ain't family. It's like they have the real meeting when you leave the meeting. They'll do all those forums and stuff, Barry. We be sitting up there like, wow, maybe this is gonna work out. Wow. And then you leave, be like, okay, we got them niggas fed. Let's get on down the business that we need to do. Let's get on down. And I think that's something we haven't learned how to do yet. It feels like some of us haven't learned how to. Maybe some of us
having a real family meeting, huh?
Oh.
So we ain't having a real family meeting.
I don't think we having real family meetings. I think we having photo ops. I think we're having less feel good. Like, I don't understand why we push nonviolence so much on Black people when we're not even the people being violent like that. No, I'm serious. I always wonder what they give you leaders. It's always like they like you when you become nonviolent.
Yeah.
Then white people, even though they've been fighting this whole time, they don't go tell the police department, I'm gonna need you to be nonviolent when you stop Black people. I almost feel like police should not have any interaction with Black folks because they're not capable of doing it in the correct way. That's what I think.
It's getting to that point.
I think they shouldn't have any. I think they should not have any interaction with Black folks, especially since you can't treat them like you treat other people. Since you can't treat them fair.
Yeah.
Like you would a white boy who spit on you, and you'd be like, "Sir, keep your spit, sir. I need you to." I just really think, what I mean, that I don't think they should be able to interact with us.
Well, I mean, evidently there's something that I'm missing.
All right, talk to me.
Because I don't know how and what and why, like, these white boys, these white males come out getting Burger King for committing mass genocide in these public places. And I almost think that if there was a string of white boys, white males that were killed by police officers, let's say, for instance, you had the Columbine thing, you got the synagogue thing, and these white boys are gunned down. Blah, 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 blah. I think that white people would be upset about that. I really believe there'd be a situation to like, well, why couldn't they have sat there? This kid, of course, had mental issues. How are you shooting down a 17-year-old? I really believe that what would end up happening a while, if you had multiple dead mass white shooters that were just cremated after they walked out, hands up, whatever, and police started shooting them down, however it went down, I really believe you'd have some white folks really saying, well, I think the police officers are kind of not using all of their resources to bring these folks to justice or bring them to get some, mental, what's the word that I'm looking for? Mental health. I would say mental health.
Okay.
I had a brain fart for a second.
That's
mental
right.
health help for them. I think that we would really have a bigger issue. And the simple fact that we don't have an issue is an issue for me, because it's like, well, how the hell do you kill unarmed? I get it, right? I understand why. I get that part because I know what it is, and folks at home, you should know what it is. But it just still doesn't make any sense. Like, these young folks are doing absolutely nothing, and they get harassed and brutalized. These other folks are going into schools premeditating murder, lighting it all up in any kind of way, killing everybody. It's like, hey, This
Hard
just
to say.
happened
Yeah.
yesterday.
Okay.
Just happened yesterday. The body count, thank God, was only one. But 2 weeks previously, it happened in a synagogue. It doesn't make any sense to me that these folks, and even abroad, they shoot up and they come out, hey. And we had the notion to sit there and say that ISIS, to sit there and say the Muslims were the biggest greatest threat to America, that they're these terrorists. And I've always said that the greatest terrorist threat for America are white males.
Yeah. Homegrown terror.
Homegrown terror
Right
is
on.
right here. So the frequency to me, for us to understand what is actually going on, I really honestly believe that we just don't simply get what's really going on. Because if we got what was going on, I think that we would be preparing ourselves a little bit better and we would see a little bit more than I think that what we see.
Is it that people are scared, Barry?
Oh,
This thing is scary sometimes to some people. Some people just, it can be scary.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it can be kind of scary.
No, I'm scared all the time. I'm scared for my safety. I'm scared for my children. I'm scared for the simple fact that eventually they gonna break me. Yeah, because all it takes, like I remember watching, Seven, right? Brad Pitt, what was it? Morgan Freeman,
Right.
Kevin Spacey, who no longer is around because of his situation. But anyway, and you
Me
had
too.
Brad Pitt was, he was a good, young cop, and they was going through all of the 7 deadly sins or whatever like that. And when Brad Pitt was finally broken, right? Was finally broken, he was in front of Kevin Spacey and they caught him and he's like, okay, we got you. All right, you did all these murders. We're going to take you in. And eventually, Brad Pitt finds out that Kevin Spacey not only killed his wife, but his wife was expectant. And that broke him. You get what I'm saying? Because it's like he's going through all the trauma watching his killer kill all these folks and do all this stuff. So it's already naturally affecting him and he wants to get this guy. But now this guy right there killed his own, like killed his wife, killed his daughter. Eventually, someone is going to break, yo, and it's not going to be good. And that breaking, right, where someone really diligently on purpose becomes a vigilante because something has happened to him, I see that happening. Unless something changes, I just really see that happening because you cannot continue to instigate a pit bull on a chain, and eventually that pit bull will be chainless and not expect that pit bull to not remember to bite your ass.
Right on. Brother Paul Muhammad says separation is the best and only solution. What do you think about that?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I have no problem with whites having what they got, blacks having what they got, Asians got what they got, Latinos got what they got. That don't mean my whole problem has always been about integration and segregation. Segregation, the effects of segregation is deadly. Why? In a way of this. I don't need to go from Oakland to Sacramento and not be able to go into a hotel where I want to and be able to sleep on whatever floor is available. Nah, Negro, your floors is only 7 and 8 and they booked out. And I got to sleep in my car. Like that to me is crazy, right?
That's
like, nah, bruh, your bathroom is outside. Like, what? Do you know how dark it is outside? Like I want to be able to go where I go. And if I want to sit there and eat, I can sit at a table. If I want to go on a bus, I don't got to go on the back. So that part to me has been like my issue. But as far as having our own, I have no problem with that. And that's not me saying white folks, you can't come to my store because I greet everybody. I greet people with a song, a dance. Come on in. But I'm just saying that there's a majority of white people that feel they're superior to black people. And that's the problem. They think they're better than us. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, literally, I even had a white woman who was being condescending in a way in my store without her even really knowing, but I just laughed it off because I didn't feel like giving her a message because I was just going to let just go. She was basically like when I was asking, hey, man, you want to put your email on here? Oh, well, she was all being indecisive about wanting to put it down. And then after she would do it, she's all, well, you're not going to use that for something. And then it's just like, well, you know, when she got my credit card, it was like she said something about the credit card. I'm like, lady, if you don't want to give your credit card, give me cash. But that's how they do. It's underlying conversations that they have. And when I walked her out after I took a picture, she's just like asking me about where I'm going to use the picture, like saying it under her breath, but kind of like being joking, but being serious at the same time. It's just like, lady, all you had to say is, please, I don't want a picture. It's not that deep. So it's like they really have no fear of us because they feel they are superior. The only fear is that they have is losing their privilege. And I think that becomes the thing that frustrates more. They love that privilege. How you gonna fear people that you've been punking and abusing for how many odd years?
Because they think if we was them, they know what they would do.
Exactly.
Which we ain't did that yet.
And we're not gonna,
even though most of us claim we mix with them, you ain't mixed with they bullshit. I mean, in terms of how they get out with people, you ain't get that lesson.
No.
You know, you want to claim some hair or some shit like that, or some white skin tone or some shit, even though we produce all things, but you ain't get that part. You didn't get that fearless fighting shit. You know, we really think we somehow super righteous. You know, like we don't do that. But we'll do that on each other. Bella says, unfortunately, Black people don't police themselves and address our problems by being accountable to or for ourselves. So we leave the problem to be addressed by white people and then bitch about how they handle us. Now, that's probably real talk right there. I'm not trying to be funny, but hey, Bella, because that's what's up. That's totally what's up.
Well, how do we police ourselves? What does that look like? So I would love for her to chime back in. What does that look like? Because I would love to see what that looks like.
Too.
And as we wait for her, because I definitely don't want to just talk about police brutality, because we can talk about Black accountability as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Our brother Farrakhan, good brother for some, a hateful brother to others.
Right.
The brother has been banned from Facebook and Instagram. As folks who should know, Facebook owns Instagram, as well as his books have been banned.
Who's the owner of Facebook, by the way?
Was this Mark
Zuckerberg? Is he Jewish? Do Farrakhan talk about how bad the Jews are? See, this is the shit that cracked me up. No disrespect to Mr. Farrakhan, I swear to God, but y'all gonna have to roll with me for just a minute. If we know these people, bury them, walk away from me. If you know these people are your enemy, because that's what you say, why the hell you won't be in their shit? That's what I don't understand. I mean, this is Mark Zuckerberg. That's his right. If he wants to ban people. Here go again. We holding on to other people who don't want to hold on to us. Like, who does that? Look at a fan. I just don't understand that. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not dissing Mr. Farrakhan. I'm just saying, when somebody say, I don't want your black ass in my house, what else could we do? I mean, what about having a black book? I don't know. I mean, the hell. I mean, we have all of these great followers of this man, and this is great. A lot of my friends and my chosen sisters and whatever are in the nation and all that. Get your own shit. That's what y'all talk about. That's out of your own book.
Now.
That's out of your own book.
Now.
I could be wrong.
No. Let's get into it because we're talking about Black accountability now, right? Oh, get your drink because you're hitting on everything. I'm spit. Let's be very clear.
Ooh.
A majority of you Negroes, just like Nipsey Hussle, like y'all did when y'all jumped on the Nipsey Hussle bandwagon, never supported, never listened, didn't have any idea and knowledge of Nipsey Hussle. You just jumped on the trend. That's facts. Because if that was the case, Nipsey Hussle would have not took almost about 10 years to actually come out with his first full-fledged album on a certain record label. Let's be very clear. He would have been the face and the talk of hip-hop. During the summer of 2018, the talk of hip-hop was Drake. The album that was being renowned as one of the best albums of hip-hop in that time frame was Cardi B. It was Drake, Cardi B. You had folks talking about, of course, the Migos. You had folks talking about, of course, J. Cole came out. Of course, Pusha T, because him and Drake. And of course, the young boy, Travis Scott. So you had that. Nipsey came. It was, yay, Nipsey came. Woohoo. And it was, okay, album to this. Let's get that to the album to the back. Cats wasn't rushing on Nipsey Hussle. These are facts. When they talked about Nipsey Hussle is when he had the infamous slap down at the BET awards.
Smackdown.
Yeah, he slapped some guy in BET, one of the workers over there.
Wow.
So that we talked about that. They talked about that, but it wasn't the Nipsey Hussle rush. And I say that because now I'm moving to the Farrakhan, because we have about 30 more minutes to really dive in. I want to spend time with this. You now have everybody jumping up and down, like, oh, they can't do this at Farrakhan. But I'm looking around, all these folks is jumping around. I went to the Million Man March, the second one in 2015. I didn't see half them Negroes out there, men or women, because though it was a Million Man March, women were allowed to come and be a part of that. For those that say all the things that they say about him, about how he doesn't want women to speak or all that type of stuff. And some things I won't argue, but I'm just going to just sit there and stand on what is. Y'all was not tripping off of Farrakhan until it became a thing. And now Farrakhan is a trend that he is being banned, but have not one time paid attention to any of the words, any of the messaging that Farrakhan or any of the brothers have put out there about do for self. So why are you mad now?
Because it takes less work to be a keyboard revolutionary.
And that's the problem that I have. Why mad now? Why frustrated and angry now? Why are we talking about banning this and we'll show you? That's why I got upset. Not upset. I just got irritated. It's like Snoop Dogg talking about, well, he gonna ban you. Then let's ban him. Let's not be on social media platforms that don't give a damn about us. But let's do that for everything. Let's do that with the schools. Let's do that with the hospitals. Let's do that with the banks. We have been programmed to believe that, and this is why I had we had our back and forth in a sense of, okay, well, how are they doing it to where it's good for them, or is it good for all of us? I look at what's going to be good for all of us.
I look at both.
And that's what I think that becomes a problem. But see, as you look for both, I think that you know how to navigate when it's time to sit there, hey, y'all, it's time. And others, it's like, okay, how many people I got here? That's all we need. And now we'll be the face. And that to me is an issue. That's a bigger problem. So as Snoop Dogg and all these other artists, and it's no diss to them, but the reality is all you niggas got money. And let's get clear. The nation is what it is. The nation. There's a reason why they haven't killed this Negro Farrakhan. Why?
Wait a minute, Barry. What do you mean by that?
I'm just saying because evidently there's something, and I'm not going to go there where some folks may think I'm going to go. But if he has a nation protecting him,
yeah, right on.
There's a reason why they ain't got to him the way they've gotten to everybody else. So simply saying we'll ban him is to me not doing enough if Negroes weren't listening to what he was saying before the ban.
I think they like to fuck with people. I think all the real threats to white supremacy has been destabilized. Let's be honest. And they killed up all those leaders back in the 60s and stuff like that, where they took out Tupac, who had the potential. Let me just be honest, it's a potential. It ain't like he really did some stuff. Talking about shit and producing shit is two different things. Now, if he talked to his next step, like Nipsey Hussle was to do, that could be a threat.
Yeah. Oh, he would have been a bigger
threat. So I'm just saying, so I think sometimes we hear potential, and because Black people, sometimes we think too much of ourselves where it don't even matter. We'll make something a conspiracy where there is no conspiracy at, y'all. Take the spear off that shit. It's just not true. But I feel like sometimes we like to do this thing where we sell wolf tickets, as old people call them. Okay. You sell these wolf tickets. So I just feel like, there's no great thing. I think they like to fuck with Black people. People love to see, how you people Black folks like, at first, when I watch the judge shows, I like to only watch the Black people because Black people are exciting. We do funny shit. We just, we got an excuse for why we ain't did something. It's much more exciting than watching the white people like, I don't know, I just lent him the money. Black people like, well, here was a gift. It was a gift. And we know the shit was a gift. So I'm saying, I think white people like to fuck with us. So banning somebody, I would say this, I'm going to go old school if people who are in the nation and stuff like that. Old school would have been like, instead of us boycotting the bus, great, let's boycott it and have our own Black bus system. See, that's what I remember growing up. Yeah. That was a perfect opportunity for us to build our own social media network site. That's what I think. Yeah. If we talking, now some of y'all be a part of organizations, but you ain't about that life.
Not at all.
You just like to talk shit.
Yeah.
But you ain't no builder.
Yeah.
Y'all just like to talk about how people ain't doing y'all right instead of saying this is what we're gonna do to get it right for us. Because I think this is the perfect opportunity to make Black Twitter maybe a real website.
Yeah.
Not just the hashtag.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect opportunity to have Black Book.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect to have Nation app or whatever the hell.
This is
I think it's a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
But it takes courage to move opportunity into action.
Yeah.
Because it ain't shit to talk about the white man to be on. He always been on us. This ain't no new shit. We can think of this as new, Barry.
That's the problem. That's the problem. It ain't been you.
This motherfucker ain't afraid of you. He really laughing at your ass. He like, let me fuck with the black people.
Yeah,
let me move that chicken and see what these motherfuckers do. Let me ban watermelon and let me see what they do. I think they like to fuck with us. That's my thing.
It's just like, so do you really think that Alex Jones was going to be banned and all those other white nationalists were going to be banned? And they was going to go throw some Negro revolutionary, some Negro prophet, some Negro hate speech? Because if you clearly hear it, it is Negro hate speech when you break it down. I mean, Jews. Though I ain't saying he's selling a lie.
Right.
But when Jews control a majority of everything, let's go there.
That's real talk.
You can't go on a Jewish platform.
Right. They ain't black folks.
They're going to be okay after everyone else has kind of snitched and said, hey, because a lot of black folks were saying those white nationalists need to go. Okay, well, if the white nationalists need to go, we're going to look at your sir. Oh, there's a black guy. He got to go as well.
Yeah, right on.
Because he's saying all these derogatory things about homosexuality. He's saying things about Jews. And this could be from past or even the present. But it's still something that they deem as dangerous. And as much as folks want to claim the dangerous is in Farrakhan, he's not as dangerous as folks would believe because more people would be listening to him and they don't listen to him. And when I'm not saying the nation that he has, I'm talking about the nation full of black folks because most black folks don't even connect with that. Most black folks won't even consider him a leader. Most black folks, when they're having leadership platforms, they don't even call Farrakhan because of the controversy that he brings. It's almost like we're going to do an interview with Farrakhan. It's like, oh, okay. Because that right there can stop sponsorship. That right there can stop, comradeship for certain individuals who believe the rhetoric that he has. When Miss Mallory was standing up and saying, I won't denounce Farrakhan, right? Where were all you niggas at?
Where her white sister in?
Yeah. Where were all her fellow? I'm gonna forget the white. We done off white.
No, I get. I'm just.
No,
saying,
I'm saying no. I get you. Yeah. But we only spoke about black people. Where were all the black people like that?
Yeah.
When Mallory stepped up and say, "Hey, no, we ain't doing that," I didn't see Negroes running and jumping up. Negro men were like, it was just another day in the neighborhood. But now he gets banned on Facebook. Why? Instagram. Why? Because you Negroes value Instagram and Facebook more than you value the words of a powerful black man. And let's be honest with that. Y'all don't want to have Farrakhan sit there and say, we need to ban Facebook. We need to disconnect off Facebook because you're going to ask, where's my alternative? And even if black people had an alternative, that alternative wouldn't have the reach of Facebook and Instagram. Let's be clear, because we help make Facebook and Instagram and sensation, and we help create and build that brand. So we believe that we are owed to stay on that. And I'm going to tell you niggas straight like this. You will not have me banning any one of these networks until you provide a platform that is sufficient enough that I could get the same amount of traction, the same amount of uses, and be able to run the businesses that I run on Instagram and Facebook until you show me what we can provide. You Negroes, not us, the ones that have to maneuver the way we maneuver and don't got 1 million followers. You Negroes who got the 1 million followers who are making money off of this Instagram, and some of you who have resurrected your career, some of you have branded your careers off of social media. You show us. That becomes the thing to where now we're putting back accountability on us. We cannot ask for accountability from those who oppress us and then not look at our own accountability. Why in the hell were we so comfortable with being on a Jewish platform in the first place?
Whoa, Barry. Hold on. shit, where's my big fan go? Where's my fan right here? I got the big one for you, baggers, right? You just brought the funk right there. It's hot up in here. Look here, Brother Paul said there is a let me see what he said. He said NFA, you can tell us who that is. I don't know who that is. Studios is our own black folks should subscribe. Can you tell us what that is, brother? And then he also goes to say the issue with Zuckerberg is that he claimed freedom, justice, and equality, but in reality, they are racist. The show on a global scale who they're dealing with. The world already knows who they're dealing with. This what cracks me up. Freedom, justice, and equality for what he thinks. For what he, not what you think. That's not like the freedom. That's what y'all stand for in the nation, which is great. But everybody know, what you have in your house, other people may not want you to have in their house. I mean, I just think sometimes we do this general, we try to hold white people to a standard. That ain't their standard.
When Zuckerberg got challenged by advertisement,
right on.
When the advertisers started saying, "Hey, dude, what you got selling shit to the Russians? You're letting Russians hack? What the fuck is going on?" And he's like, you got to do something to fix this. This is Zuckerberg's way of being politically correct, because I'm telling you, when he was on that stand in Congress, that motherfucker looked as nervous as shit.
Yep.
And they sat there and simply said, "Listen, dude, you could be spending the rest of your life in prison. You better start fixing this." He looked at his bottom line. In order for me to save myself and what I've made and what I've created, this big monster that is kind of blown out of proportion, I have to make sure that I give them a sacrificial lamb. It's going to be some people that look like me, but it's also going to be some people that don't look like me. And that's what he did. And now they're going to be police. But you got to understand, nothing is about freedom of speech. Nothing is about freedom of expression. Why do you guys like? Because if it was freedom, I have the freedom not to pay no taxes.
Yeah, we'll say that again.
I have the freedom just to drive through a red light, and I wouldn't do the red light thing because it's a safety situation. I get that. But why am I sitting there getting tax on tax when every place I go, I'm getting taxed? I ain't paying enough tax on this motherfucker. Like, now you telling me I owe you some shit? God damn.
Oh, yeah. No,
so
about the taxes.
The reality is that black people have become brainwashed to believing that these platforms that let me hear this, listen to this key word, brothers and sisters. We are guests. We are guests on these platforms.
Yes, we are.
We are guests in this country because we don't want to claim it as our own. We are guests. And once you have a guest that acts unruly, or you just are tired of your guests, what do you say to your guests? You say to your guests, "Please remove yourself from the table and please remove yourself from my house." And if a guest doesn't do that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know many bold guests that just sat there and said, "Yo, fuck out of here. I ain't going nowhere." All right, well, shit.
Thank you, brother.
because that just ain't, that's not our reality, Queen. And I think that we have to start dealing with reality. So if this show is about accountability,
reality sounds like accountability, but
it's accountability on their side and our side. Our accountability has to move into when the hell are we going to wake up and say it is okay to say unapologetically Black excellence. It's okay to say Black blueprints. It's okay to say Black support businesses. It's okay to be Black in business. It's okay to have the Black Twitter. It's okay to be Black. I mean, damn it. It's like, nigga, it's okay. They even have a show called Blackish now. We can be okay and come out of the cave and say Black is all right and have things that are Black. Asians, Latinos, you go into their stores, they're speaking their language. You're hearing their music. You're feeling their vibration. You're feeling their culture.
Unapologetic.
Why are we denying that for ourselves? Why are we sitting there waiting for some speech from Farrakhan when he made a speech in 2015 and said justice or else, and niggas didn't have an idea what the else was? I knew what the else was. Do for self. A lot of other motherfuckers were like, well, we're still waiting for the else. You know what I mean? Like, what's else? Else is, this is what it is, y'all.
Like in the street, or else mean you about to handle that business.
I'm just saying, though.
That's what it means.
Or else means, yo, nigga, we need to break free. And that means from everything. I always will say this, and I have to spot this on as you jump in, Queen.
All right.
The Negro, if we just said no to sports, and when I say that, I mean our best athletes go to historical Black colleges, and our best athletes black athletes say we're going to go to the alternative black leagues, there would be no such thing as American sports. But we, because we are being paid an inarticulable amount of money, that makes us say, hey, this Jew money is some real money. And when LeBron James said something about Jewish money, he got ostracized. But this is a reality. We are a people that want to be loved and accepted by white people, and that's almost to our greatest demise.
We don't want to be free. You remember that song?
I remember that. Come on now.
I'm so sorry. I'm trying to. Hey, look, I'm up here trying to run all the stuff up in here. Hold on just a minute. So look, there's some comments, Barry.
Yeah, let's get into it.
There's some comments up in here. That's a good topic. See, I missed the time when stuff like this would happen. We would talk about it as a people, but I ain't heard a lot of people talk about it. That can be
because they don't, because niggas like they don't want to talk about real shit. They want to have a whole bunch of good principled Negroes that come with good philosophies, good ideas, and these Negroes go back to their little white supremacist position and feel like they're the great noble white person, black person, excuse me, because they're the only black person in there, or not a majority, and they get to take the picture, and they're the friendly black person, but they get to be, that Negro, a strong black Negro, because they feel accomplished. All you Negroes accomplished don't mean shit. Because if you Negroes are still begging and we still not building, to me, it's a joke. Because we should have strip malls that are owned by us all over the place. I should hear Negroes' names in schools. I want to see a Snoop Dogg school. I want to see a Farrakhan school. And I'm not saying that they didn't have these parts, but I need to know, I want to feel it like I can feel McDonald's. I want to feel it like I can feel Target. I want to feel it like I can feel Walmart. I feel these things because I see it relatively pushing in my face every damn day.
So you're saying something, Barry. Do you think it's philosophy that keep us from being able to want the twins activate as black people?
Philosophy, ego, fear, not being prepared to really build and really grow in a way that we're supposed to, right? Not taking the chains off and being in fear of our own people. We fear black people more than we feel any other person. Let's be very clear. Black people feel black people. And I'm going to be honest. What do I look like being in neighborhoods that I don't, like our philosophies, ideologies don't even match up. Like a hood Negro's idea of a good time and my idea of a good time don't mix.
I get that.
I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I don't do that. Like, that's not me. And after a while, to be honest with you, I'm looked at as a mark, right? I looked at them Negroes as like, Negroes is trying to figure it out. And eventually, a mark is exactly what a mark is, right? So I'm going to be a target. And that's a lot of us why we have that fear of each other. Because even in the sense of I'm not from that neighborhood, Negroes is looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, nigga, you don't even own this neighborhood. What the fuck do you care about me coming in this shit?
You better shut your mouth.
I'm just saying though. But that be the situation though. And then we just eliminate ourselves with our own ignorance. But go ahead with the questions.
Brother Paul, I'm skipping around, y'all. I'm trying to get to the questions. Brother Paul is saying that it was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the 50s who started saying black people beautiful. He is the father of the pro. I don't know if he's the father of the pro-black movement. See again, that's a set trip. I think he is in the long line of black folks who've seen the value in us. I think that's when we get tripped up and we keep trying to make one person the head. It doesn't work like that. The white man don't have the head. He has many heads. And I think sometimes we gotta value that. Like, I think he definitely did his contribution. And so did Nat Turner. So did Denmark Vesey. So did Dessalines. We could just go on and on and on and on.
And let me tell you something. Right. Half the people that you said, Negroes don't even know about it.
I know, because they stuck on what's popular. I definitely think Elijah Muhammad did contribute to the black movement. He was not the black movement. He was a contributor. He was a continuum. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it was Marcus Garvey.
Yeah, it was Marcus. Oh my God! And his ancestors was a follower of Marcus Garvey. So we gotta, you never see America just stop at Trump and say they'll go all the way back to George Washington. They go all the way back to Pat Boone. They don't do this thing where they focus on one figure, one moment. They study the whole playbook. All their ancestors' existence is a playbook. And we sitting up here stuck on wanting to make one. We got to stop being such idol worshipers of people.
Man, say that again.
God damn, like
Say
we
that
are
again,
the
say
most
that again.
idol worshiping people I've ever met in my life.
What
You
did
don't
Snoop Dogg
need
say? What did Snoop Dogg say about Farrakhan being banned? I don't give a shit what Snoop Dogg said.
Yeah, I don't really give a damn.
And this is no knock on him,
Yeah,
but I
me
think that these Negroes, they love the role that they play, but it's like, Negro, if you're gonna have that role, then roll in a different way. Because you still was the same Negro that got the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and you didn't say nothing in your speech about Black empowerment. I mean, we do things when it's convenient for us, but these points and these moments where we can speak truth to power, we don't. And I know that these niggas got money, so it's like put your money where your mouth is and build.
That's because I think people like that don't really value Black people. If they did, they wouldn't treat us like shit. You can't get mad at the white people for treating us like shit, and you treat us like shit. You just can't. Like, I'm sorry. You can't. See, I think it's a value piece on Black life, Barry. I think it's a value piece. We'll be very clear that white people don't value us. When they don't value us, the white man treat us like shit. But then we treat each other like shit and act like that's okay. That's a problem.
Big problem.
That's a problem. And I know we don't want to talk about that because that ain't popular. They don't even, you can't see that as a hashtag. You know what I mean?
Have to understand, a 3-year-old Black baby was chained up and burned in the car of her father. Her father chained her in a car. A 3-year-old. Do you hear that? You pathetic ass, silly ass Negroes who don't want to be fathers and don't make them. I like that's some simple part. A brother was sitting there saying, well, you know, the lack of imagery of father. I don't want to hear that shit, yo. I don't give a shit about none of that shit. I don't care.
We got because we love to excuse bad behavior. We love to come up with excuses bad behavior.
Because of the lack of fathers. And you know what? Check this out. My father was not a nurturing father at all. Not this Negro. I could name how many times he probably said he loved me on one finger. And at the end of the day, I figured out how to be nurturing to my daughter.
Right on.
You understand what I'm saying? I figured that out because I stood by the mirror and asked myself, what kind of man do I want to be? Who do I want to be? What kind of legacy do I want to leave for my seed and for my people?
Right on.
It's like this mental illness I will understand. But at the end of the day, if there's something that I say that I've loved, that I've birthed, one, I would never walk away. Because, see, that's the first problem with Black men.
Oh.
We walk away before dealing with the issue and sometimes go make another. Sometimes just forget we even had one or live on with our lives. I know Black women love to hear that. But then again, it's the Black women. Why are you sleeping with this has-been?
Oh,
let's not, because I don't want them to start applying me. Because I know they're going to. I want them to also hear why are we going in there and sleeping with these Negroes? And at the end of the day, well, if you got one bad apple, why are you going to go for the second bad apple that's just the same or similar to the first bad apple? Okay, baby, I hear that you got a lot of issues. I can't really work with you with these issues. Hit me when you got those issues figured out because I'm trying to figure out my issues as well. Don't think two people with issues need to have a baby anytime soon. So it becomes those kind of things. Because we can't expect the law to give us any restraining orders and have Negroes stop being crazy. So when we dictate this idea that it's white people, though I understand the framework of their poison is truly something that has decapitated our community, if we are the creator of all, then we burden that burden of saying we got to correct our children.
Uh-oh.
And we don't want to go into that.
That's accountability barriers. It's kind of scary. The
reality of accountability for Black people is the scariest part because we don't want to see the errors of our way. And when we look and journey into the errors of our way, things will be more correct. There should be no reason why Negroes are just now buying the block. We should have always been buying the block.
Or sustaining what was already purchased. See, a lot of us gave the block away. A lot of us gave the block away, Barry. Black folks used to own a lot. We always, to some degree, own certain parts of a city that was the Black part. But then we want to go move with the white people because we thought they had better grass and better schools and all that. That's a whole nother story.
Ain't greener, man.
Right. And then we got over there and realized they were just as racist as the people.
Like, why wouldn't they have changed? Like, why? Because a few white people are cool. And like I said, it's not to knock, but the history proves to be what it is. If history continues to repeat itself, what do you think? So to me, it's just like for us even having this conversation about Farrakhan being banned,
Man, yeah, that's
it's to me ludicrous because we got babies being killed by fathers. We got Negroes, young 14-year-old young boy in Sports Illustrated. And the only reason why he got any pub is because he's in Sports Illustrated, not because there's numerous murders in St. Louis. This young man got gunned down coming from a house party. His future ahead of him cut short at 14 years old. But there's always murders in St. Louis. There's always murders in Chicago.
That's right. That's real talk.
So we have all the time to sit there and point, but the direction looks at us, and the idea that we are having this issue about Farrakhan being banned when the nation honestly could have created their own social media network. But here's the thing, you Negroes would have not supported that. Let's be very clear.
But I think he has enough followers where they could have sustained it.
Negroes would have not supported it. I'm talking about sustaining is one thing, but we would have not transferred and say, here's our alternative. Because there have been other social media platforms for Black people that we did not navigate in. What happened to Black Planet? What the hell happened to Black Planet? Before there was Facebook and MySpace, what happened to Black Planet?
That's true.
As soon as the white person made something that was a little bit more dually connected, we were boom. Let's go. Let's go there.
So we don't have longevity with each other. Man. That's what I'm picking up on.
No longevity, no sustainability, the lack of support. We want to get to it when we get to it. Every Black person should always at least 3 times a week be supporting a Black business on purpose. On purpose. Not Black platforms, but Black people creating their own platforms like this show. Folks should be sharing and sharing and sharing.
That's real talk.
Because we're talking the same shit that David Banner is talking, Boyce Watkins, you know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of other folks that have been out there, but because white folks have given them such a platform and allowed them, because I'm gonna let y'all know, white people are allowing us to speak truth to power. Just be very clear.
Are.
Like, let's not get it twisted. As soon as they want Negroes to be done, we're gonna be done because we've seen this before.
That's so true.
You know, it's just they wait to see what a Negro's gonna say. And like I said, that Jewish shit that Farrakhan kept on saying, they got a little bit tired of that. The focus is now, okay, you know what? Because he's always been saying the same shit. Yep. Why is it any different now? It's because now there's this different bit of money being circulated on these platforms that's a little bit more dicey and a little bit more subjugated to like, we can't have that shit because now investment dollars, advertisement dollars are into play. Because if it wasn't, they would give 2 shits about Farrakhan. Because guess what? You Negroes ain't listening anyway. They know that you're not listening. But in order for them to keep face with all of the other, because the white nationalists was like, who are funneling money through Facebook, is like, come on, man, we gotta have so-and-so. Zuckerberg is like, dude, listen, getting pressure up my ass, man. They gotta go. And they're like, well, what about the Farrakhan guy? You taking him out? And he's like, oh shit, I never thought about that guy. Yeah. Well, if so-and-so's going, they gotta go too. And that's the truth, man. That's the reality. Because as much as Farrakhan has done to empower his people, it hasn't empowered us enough to do for self. Because a lot of us look at what Farrakhan is doing, say, I don't want to go ahead and wear no bow tie. I don't want to go ahead and put no hairstyle. I don't want to do all that. I don't want to. It's just like us not wanting to go to church. A lot of us, we're not into that. So we can't sit there and pretend like we're all into the messaging, even though the messaging is deep and the messaging is good and it will probably save us. The other stuff that we see is what we're not into. So we don't fall in love with the message. We get the hate the character who's giving out the message instead of saying, fuck the character, let's go and move with the message.
Right on. A couple of comments. Bella says, yes, you walk away from your children because you don't recognize them as an extension of yourself, lack of love for ourselves. I'm talking about the brother who with his children, like she agreeing with you, Barry. Benjamin basically said, we have a network, but the dumb, deaf, and blind are not going to go to the platform, that they are on the filthiest platform. So it's important to the minister to be on here. For who though, brother? For who? But I get what you're saying.
No, I get what brother.
I get what he's saying. I get what he's
saying.
saying, but I just feel like this person is your enemy. I just don't understand it.
I just don't think that.
I just don't understand it.
And because I understand what Benjamin is, brother Ben, I get it. We totally agree.
Yeah.
But the reality is that if we never show up, we never know.
Right on.
Right. You know what I'm saying? If we never show up, we never know. Like that's why it's just like I could never tell you what a county jail lookup likes. I can hear it from other people, but I'm never going to show up.
Yeah,
because I don't need to know. That's not something I need to have an experience in. And it's just like why do we want to experience the hate to figure out what is love? I would love to experience love before I even see the hate. And I think that's what's blinded us a lot.
Yeah.
We've just kind of thought that everything is all good and everything's wavy. We're on this wave. And I think that has kind of skewed us. So though I agree with my brother Ben, I get it. I still am saying that we do ourselves a disservice because once we start getting ourselves ingrained into a platform like Facebook, we become addicted. It's like crack. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't. If like I'll spend a few days off of it, but if like that was a post that I couldn't get on, like that's something that I do a lot of business on.
Right on.
I don't give a shit about connecting with people for other kind of purposes. It's messaging. I'm doing business, and it fills a purpose in my life. If it didn't, I wouldn't be on it because I think a lot of it is skewed with a lot of drama. So the reality is that if we set up platforms before other platforms become major, then what will end up being is the content that we have could be the content for our own, and we're never going to establish content that now we're like, damn, I got all these videos on YouTube. What I'm supposed to do now? Take all the and restart over again? A lot of us can't restart over again because it took us a lot of time to get to where we're at right now. It took me several years, like you, to get to this platform and be able to utilize it. And I know how Negroes do. Negroes will do a platform, and off top they'll be like, well, we got to have $1 membership.
Real talk. So let me just say this. So I know that Minister Farrakhan is supposed to be giving his response to this whole thing about the blocking, banning on Facebook. But I also think I just want to say to people, go through some history. That's all I'm saying. And look at history and learn from it. Like, for instance, I got to go back to the bus boycott. When we boycotted those buses, we should have been having our own bus company. And I'm just going to keep going back to that. Because at the end of the day, it's really about economics. It's really not about popularity. It's really about not how many people love Farrakhan or hate Mr. Farrakhan. It is really about, us doing something for self. And I feel like sometimes we miss that piece because we get the popularity and I can't believe we're really fighting Mark Zuckerberg, or some of us are, because I'm not, around him accepting someone who really in the big scheme of things, that's his arch enemy. Now, I hate to say that. That's like when we go to other countries and they kick one of us out. You think that the person don't have some of their people in there to still hold up the game?
Yeah.
That's how white supremacy works. You kill 10 of their men, they got 50 of them already planted in there. Yeah. So they don't care if you get rid of their 10 that's the face. Yeah. We haven't learned that yet because we think somebody's coming to save us. We really believe in a Messiah. We really believe in ain't nobody coming for black folks. You have to come for yourself. Shit. We're the only group who really believe that we have to have a Messiah. Yeah. You are the Messiah.
Talk to him.
You are the Messiah. Nobody's coming. Nobody. Shit. I mean, for real, who spends as much time on shit like this? And we took all of this fight about this ban to our neighborhoods and everybody bought up one house? Or at least band together by one house or something? Then that's a threat. But really, I mean, I really think they just do this shit to fuck with us. I really do. They say, watch how this nigga act. Let me cut off one of the people they really love. And then we get to acting the fool. Hold up. Nah. We doing that right now. Yeah. Right. Before the world. Because if you're about your business, you don't give a damn that your enemy don't want you to be in his house. Not at all. If you're about your work, you got your own goddamn house. Right. And so I just think sometimes we miss that. I'm probably gonna listen to I listen to everybody's stuff. I listen to people who like us and people I listen to everybody, y'all. I hate to tell you, I do watch some Fox News. I do. I watch a little bit of all of it. Because you gotta know how your enemy see you. You gotta know. So you don't keep thinking these people is your damn friends all the time. But that's all I'm saying. I just feel like this is Messiah complex. Black folks, we have to kill that now.
Yeah.
We got to kill that shit because it's killing us.
Yeah.
There is no goddamn Messiah. You are the Messiah. All of us are the Messiah. We don't need no one goddamn person. We don't need no one damn organization. We are the organization. We are the temple. We are. It's us.
Yeah, well, this is crazy. Queen Bella said, we are voluntarily bringing our kids to white teachers, white women teachers, voluntarily.
I wonder why kids do that.
And ask ourselves why the prison to school pipeline is the funnel of Black genocide in our modern era, right? Again, choice, right? So when we talk about choice, my choice is when I started working after being a hustler, I had complaint after complaint, after judgment, after frustration, not getting raises. After a while, I was so fed up. You know what I had to do? What I had to do, Mama? I had to create my own shit. Because at the end of the day, if I was that frustrated and I cared that much and I felt like I wanted to do it this way and I didn't want to follow the rules and I was so upset and I felt I could do this right better than that, I eventually had to pick up my shit and go ahead and do my own thing. But you know what it took? It took me getting fired. Not me waking up with the epiphanies like, oh man, I'm done. I'm about to start my own shit. It took me to get fired to the point to where it was like, there's now no common ground. I had to create my own. I had to build my own. It was either go back to the block and hustle where I was going to be a target or build my own infrastructure, whether it's small in capacity or larger in life. Something that's impactful enough to say that I am doing what I believe is good enough for my people. I could not complain about someone else's business, someone else's protocol, someone else's mission statement. I was not there during the mission statement process or the vision process, so I can't really sit there and dictate what should change. That is a no-go. So as I say this with all love and no hate to my people, but with a bit of frustration, when are we going to take time and say it is time to get off of Daddy Daycare's plantation and just build for self without apologizing if we want to make our own rules, if we want to dictate our own standards, and with our own people having a mission statement and a vision. That's what I had to do for self. And now, though I'm frustrated and angry about all the things going around, I'm not as frustrated and angry as if I would have to walk to someone's job, clock in, and ask them, hey, can I take a break at 12 instead of 1:30?
But that's that accountability piece. I think you want to talk about building the nation, but when you build the nation, you have to have some accountability. You have to, hey, if shit fall apart, you have to be responsible for that. You can't blame that on the system.
Right.
You have to say, hey, that we got to look at this a different way. And that ain't easy. That ain't easy at all, having accountability. I'm telling you, accountability gets you all messed up. I mean, if you're not ready for it.
Yes.
If you're used to always, that's like some people have to have a job. Some people can't work for themselves. They got to be told what to do,
and that's
how
okay.
to do it. But
the problem is that
get the hell out of the way to people who want to get the
exactly. But here's the thing about it. And no doubt. But here's the thing about this. If you are going to complain and think you're going to do something better or can't do better, that's when you cannot be at that job.
I agree.
That's my thing.
I agree.
And that for the folks, because I'm not telling everyone to jump on this bandwagon because it ain't easy.
Right now.
And I don't think a lot of folks have the testosterone and the intestinal fortitude to kind of go through.
Some people won't pay their rent, Barry, without
No, I got because we gambling like what you. Listen, we got to go ahead.
Right.
We got to go ahead and pay. You got to. I paid my house rent, my apartment rent. You paid your house, and then we got to pay on 2 separate spots.
Right.
By the 10th.
I know.
I'll wait till the damn 10th to pay this motherfucker. Damn, they're getting late charges and everything. I'm looking at the date right now. What day is it? It's the 8th. I got 2 more days. Right? So I'm constantly hustling. People looking at me, Barry, you got more jobs than a Jamaican. You goddamn right. Because I'd rather have all these goddamn jobs like a Jamaican that's self-sufficient for me, before I got to go in and change my guard and do what I would never want to do again, and that's work for someone. For someone, the words I hate, I want to hear is you can't get time off. Well, why were you late? I don't want to hear those words. Well, how many hours did you put in? I don't want to hear those words. Can you work on Saturday? I don't want to hear those words. That's me. I don't give a keep your 401k. I'll figure that shit out my goddamn self. I have to be a person that's building for me. And if we don't understand that philosophy, that idea that if somebody doesn't want you to speak in their house, all they have to do is mute you. All they got to do is ban you. Damn. And we upset with that. It is us that got the problem, not them. Yeah. It is us that got the problem. First of all, Negro, I'm letting you stay in my house for free. I ain't even charging you Negroes for this free advertisement. What you talking? What you complaining about? Now you mad? How many of y'all Negroes have made money off Facebook, Instagram? Raise your hands. How many of y'all got careers off of Facebook and Instagram? Yeah. Raise your hands. I'm letting y'all do this for free. So instead of charging you Negroes, I'm going to kick out some of the dirt that we feel is dirt for our advertisers so we can continue to keep this what? Free. Because this was what's going to have Negroes really banned is once they start charging social media accounts. Then you eliminate Negroes. It's not because of Farrakhan. It's because when Negroes start getting that, damn, I got to pay $5 every month to get on social media. That's when Negroes is going to start saying, fuck that. That's so true. And this shouldn't get to that. Because there have been rumors for the last 4 years that was going to happen. And I see why that rumor was. They can't do it now. Why? Because that Facebook is in such a transition because of all of that Russian shit. Yeah. And that's when it really got hot. I guarantee you, had that Russian shit not spilled over, the charge would have came. So what they turned around and they did, they start charging us for advertising. They start fucking with the way shit gets shifted. Like certain things that I see from you, unless you tag me, I won't know. So they start playing that game. But let's be very clear and very honest. This is a free platform from your oppressor for you idiots to give out all your business so they can give it to someone else to kind of monitor your ass even more when you get out of line. Now that the advertisers have kind of said, all right, we got enough. It's time for us to move forward. A free platform is now going to say you banned, and Negroes have the audacity to be upset with that.
Like, how dare you ban me from free shit?
I'm just saying though, Queen. I mean, this shit is free. And Negroes is trying to, like, I can see if Negroes is paying, but see, this shit is for fucking free. And what you Negroes need to understand, you silly ass Negroes, ain't nothing ever been free for America to where you can just talk your shit. Yeah. And think that people ain't paying attention, they ain't gonna go snap on your ass when they want to snap on your ass. So like, what's wrong with Negroes, man? That shit just
that's a sign of entitlement, Barry. I think we have a lot of entitlement as Black folks. I think we'll talk about how deep our struggle is, but we are some of the most spoiled motherfuckers on the whole planet. In the United States, Black people. I know y'all will get mad, like, well, you ain't been through what I've been through. Who gives a fuck? In some countries, people don't get free cheese and welfare and shit like that. You don't get that in other parts of the world. You have to work for what the fuck you earn. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm laughing at you, Barry, because in a way, that's why some people think that we are some of the most spoiled motherfuckers on the planet. And I believe it. Because we do a lot of spoiled kind of shit.
And you know what, brother Paul, I know shouts out to all the people that's chiming in. We appreciate that. Brother Ben, we appreciate you, Brother Ben Bailey. Yeah, we're going to keep on doing just keep on sharing. That's what we need you to do, man. Share our platform. But Brother Paul said something. Of course, you know, Minister Farrakhan, and we go in a little overtime because I think we need to kind of, we you know, I hope y'all can tune in. This mic is good and everything. Because we got to really drop knowledge for self right now. Brother Paul, Farrakhan was not the first.
Yeah, we got to stop saying that shit.
And I'll say the first, he wasn't the first to be banned because if you niggas ain't paid attention, they sat there. We're just going to talk about the celebrity kind of Negroes. OJ, Bill, you know what I'm saying? Yep. They coming at Negroes.
They really are.
They breaking Negroes down. Even in your grave, they shitting on you. Yep. You know, Michael, so Negroes are still trying to figure out how Prince died. You know what I'm saying? So it's Dr. Sabi. I mean, you know, you can go on and on. I mean, they have been ready for this next round. Yes, I believe because people are trying to get a little woke a little bit, but at the end of the day, woke to me is me watching your actions and how you're going to navigate. Right on. That's being woke to me. How you gonna change your attitude to your brother and sister? Queen Olivia and I say, we our new thing. Queen Olivia just chiming in.
Right on. Pieces.
It's like this. I love my people. That's our new thing. When our people do something crazy, I love my people. I just love my people. That's what we say.
Right on.
Because we can't understand it, but we just gotta be like, I just love my people, and that's it. And moving forward. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give as much love as I can for you Negroes because I can't give you hate. I can't. Even though sometimes I'm so frustrated when I just want to leave this whole shit alone. But I know too many people depend on it. When I'm getting calls and text messages, hey, we need the support, blah, blah, blah. So I'm here for that. But I will not continue to pretend that we don't have the power, we don't have the access, or we don't have the privilege. And I know that's crazy, black privilege connecting, because white privilege is a dominant source, but the privilege to be able to move in a way to where we can create our own platforms. It's just that once we start doing it, we will be challenged more than any other group. But even in that challenge, we must see those obstacles as exactly that, obstacles that we got to go through. And that's what we have to be on. We cannot be on a thing to where I got challenged, I got stop doing it. When me and Queen Olivia was challenged with the whole David Banner thing. We do have David Banner coming in June 9th. What we were challenged with, me, Queen Olivia, and Dana, we were challenged with the date process, right? It was the date was actually May 5th, right? And of course, Queen, thank you for making sure you got us a space. And you got us a space within 24 hours. He probably less than that, right? And everything was set. But we got hated on. Got hated on by our own people that said some disparaging things about what we were trying to do, as if we was trying to navigate in a way of discrediting what they were doing or sabotaging their thing. And it's like, dude, Oakland and Sacramento is two different things. We trying to build just like y'all trying to build. Ain't we supposed to all try to build together? Ain't nobody trying to sabotage nothing. But that came from that person that was doing their thing. They try to sabotage our shit over there. But it worked for our best benefit because we got the brother coming in June 9th and we're able to have more time to do the build. But had we had been frustrated and allowed a hater to be a hater, even though it was a person of our own, and said, you know what, fuck David Banner's whole shit, we ain't gonna do it, we would have lost. The win is that we said, nah, we're gonna go ahead and maneuver through the obstacles, right? We're not gonna let the obstacles hit us. We're gonna hit the obstacles. And now we have David Banner coming June 9th, right? The health professions, starting at 3 p.m. The Black Business Sunday. Hella vendors is going to be out there. If you motherfuckers want to support, I'm going to say motherfuckers, I'm on my bullshit right now. I need y'all to buy tickets on Eventbrite. Message to the black community. And here is what we're taking. A key from Elijah Muhammad. The message to the black man, we're saying the message to the black community. So black people, this is your time to get off your ass if you're in Sacramento and hear a message, just not only of David Banner, a message of the people, right? Mama Rose going to be going here doing some libations and just kind of speaking some words of healing. We're going to have some entertainment. We're going to have vendors. But this is the time to support something. And we did message to the black community on purpose because, hey, no other person can hear this message except us.
Right on.
And we're not going to try to make it kind and nice and try to say message for all people of color. No, we're going to message for the black community.
That's real.
And while it's passing, the flyers are all over, and the folks is getting it and probably like, oh shit, this is kind of looking like this a race rally. And when they keep on pointing us like, oh, you can't be a reverse racist and all that bullshit, we're saying and taking up a stand and saying, fuck all that. We doing it the way we're supposed to do it. And I apologize for all my curses. But right now, we are at critical right now. Y'all, we've been past critical.
That's so true.
But I can't sit there and look at a death of a 3-year-old child, murder-suicide of a black woman, then turn around and watch police body slam our black children, as well as parents texting me about their child being abused in a school, as well as fighting against folks trying to stop black charter schools from opening, knowing damn well that black charter schools have helped close the gap between black excellence and black prisons.
Yep, real talk.
We can't continue to sit there and be okay and be comfortable. I'm not comfortable a day in my life when we are oppressed. I could put a smile, they sing, but I'm always with this fire. I'm always with this warrior spirit. And I'm going to continue to challenge Negroes to stop being comfortable in this system of white supremacy.
Right on.
I don't understand what's going to be next. We're going to have to start banning Tesla because Tesla did something to Negroes, and then what? Negroes are going to give their Teslas up because we don't have a black vehicle that we manufactured.
Right on.
Enough is enough. And I believe that it's time for the Negroes that have access, power, some wealth, to start really putting their money in their mouth is to, again, like I said, Queen, not discrediting what Negroes are doing, but I want to feel it. I want to feel it like I feel Walmart, like I feel McDonald's, like I feel Pepsi. I feel those things because they're in my face every damn day because it's advertised every damn day. And until we start really breaking bread like that, and until we start moving and navigating outside of being so frustrated that Farrakhan got banned, Farrakhan got banned. It ain't the first Negro that got banned. There's still freaking freedom soldiers that are in prison that you niggas don't talk nothing about.
Oh, we got prisoners of war.
We got prisoners of war niggas ain't spoke nothing about.
Little prisoners, yo.
Free my brother Keith the Sneak as well. But we have political prisons to this day. And no one speaks nothing about that.
Yep.
So we have to really start getting into understanding what we're about, and we got to be about that life. Go ahead.
So no, I went ahead on and posted up the Eventbrite for the tickets. Go on and get your ticket. Buy a block of tickets. Shit.
Yeah. Queen's about to she bought her block.
I certainly did because I'm making sure some young folks in the house to hear the message.
She bought. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
Got it.
Like my Queen sister said, not only did make sure she set it up to where we got the spot, but she said, you know what? I'm going because she knows that David Banner ain't cheap.
That's right. That's right. Y'all.
You know what I mean? And this is coming out of Live with Nature and Black Blueprints. This is coming out of our own money, man. Because we know the message is important. So we wasn't going to sit around and wait for some old bourgeois nigga to say, let's bring David Banner in. We want this shit to be grass-rooted and hard to the core with no shenanigans. None of that bullshit that a lot of these Negro organizations do because it makes everybody feel happy. Like when we go marching down Martin Luther King and celebrate a dirty-ass Martin Luther King Boulevard in Sacramento.
That's true.
And talk about we have a dream.
Shit.
I'm just saying.
Oh, that's real talk. Harry, that's real talk. Y'all, I'm sometimes I give because this shit is funny because it's like we go through this shit every 25 years or so.
No doubt.
Like always keep trying to wake you up. Shit, just don't be woke. Stay woke. Pass that shit on to your kids. You know, and your children do what they see you do. I know we talk about the influence of media because some of us gotta have an excuse for why the fuck we spoiled. But we don't think we're spoiled, but we're spoiled. We gotta have an excuse why we produce fucked up children and fucked up environments. We gotta have an excuse instead of saying, you know what? I didn't do some shit right. I don't give a fuck if you wasn't taught it, but goddamn it, you knew the shit was wrong. And so take accountability for us. I have a lot of respect for you to say, yeah, I was a part of fucking up my community, but I came back to fix it. I got respect for that black man or black woman who does that.
True.
But I don't have respect for motherfuckers who take no responsibility for the people that they created and the situations and the environments that they created. I have no fucking respect for you. That's why unity is not as simple as it coming off your lips. Because some of you motherfuckers I don't want to separate with. I just don't. I just don't. I'd rather leave you like that the white folks have you. I just don't have time to be trying to get you to be right. You gotta, this is a battle we in. This is a war we in. And we ain't got time to be trying to make you understand what you're doing is fucked up. And you made some good points earlier, Barry. You talked about women sleeping with trifling ass men. You gotta take a responsibility for your co-creation of some of these human beings that's running around here. Some of these emotional ass boys that's running around here. Some of these hardcore ass girls walking around here. Wanting to fight everybody. That shit comes from a certain place. And I don't care if you are a grown-ass woman, you can still change your way. I hold grown-ups in a higher responsible area than I do young people. Shit, I say if you're over 25, goddamn it, you get a book, read. We live in an age of information. You can Google any goddamn thing. You'll Google a fight.
You can Google and be smart.
Right on. You can have a degree from Google University.
I'm just saying, though. I mean,
so,
you know.
Come out to Brother David Banner. Come get this message. You know, and then get it and then activate it. Because we're awesome people. We just got to activate what we know and quit, for God's sakes, blaming motherfuckers for shit you can't control. You can control that.
I think also with what you said, you know, let's stop idol worshiping. Stop these Negroes ain't God. Let's start looking at investing and let's stop being
read a book. You ain't never lied.
Hey,
Read a book challenge.
King Anthony, no doubt. Read a book challenge. Should you come, and like I said, share platforms like this that are uncut, raw, truthful. We ain't going to be doing it off the book. We're not going to be doing it off in a way that some other programs do it. And we're doing it off the way that our energy, our vibration, and our ancestors felt us to do it from the spirit. That's where we get it from. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we walk up in here and we're like, okay, we got to get another show. But we're being very consistent because we know consistency lets value show that we care about what this show can do, and we care about our people. And we're not raising our frequency high because we believe that we are better than, because we're not. We are humble stewards of our ancestors' trails, but we are folks that have challenged and said we will no longer be oppressed and no longer be silent and be content with everything being okay because I got a good little crumb from the piece of pie that they had sat there and said we could all eat from. I am not okay with that. I could easily be all right. My daughter's good. My family's good. Have a mentorship program. Open up a hidden gem store and say I'm done. But the reality that I'm living in is a reality of I must be able willingly with my brother and my sisters to be able to build. I need to be able to show what collaboration looks like. I need to be able to show what good business looks like. I need to show what Black love looks like. And I'm challenged by many attributes of that. But I continue to kind of show and prove that I am a real model, not a role model. I am flawed, but my flaws just help me grow to be better. And if we could go and grow to be better and learn from these incidents instead of constantly arguing, having a fit, and then 2 weeks later, right back like everything's all good on social media, like nothing happened until the next strategy comes, I think that becomes a problem with ourselves. Kids are dying. Our people are being tortured. We're being brutalized. And we're not doing enough about it to the way where they will feel that we need business. So it's not saying that we got to put up our guns and slaughter a whole bunch of white folks, but it's saying that we got to do something different than constantly saying, let's go back to the oppressor and ask them to chill. We got to go back to our communities and we have to start to build.
Yeah, right on, right on. I want to give a shout out real quick to everyone who shared on the local front. It's a young girl that's been missing for 2 weeks. One of my students from one of my schools, the grandmother reached out to me. The police basically told her, don't post no flyers that she'll come back home. And is that the shit? Is that the shit they would tell a white girl if she was missing? For 2 weeks. And so I want to say thank you. It's been shared over 800 and something times. And people are really, getting the word out. So I just want to give a big up. This is someone's granddaughter, somebody's daughter, and so she's been missing for 2 weeks. And I think we got to talk about that. I know that's not popular because it's a value piece. We know sometimes people don't value Black girls and women, but this sister is missing. And she was last seen in the North area at Hagenwood Park. And it's actually, she was on video in a fight. See, people talking about, we would have seen her. You don't see every fucking body everywhere. Quit acting like you run some shit. You ain't running shit. You're a guest in the house. You don't own shit over there. Wow. So you never know if we really seen this little sister. Even though she was in the video being jumped by a bunch of girls.
So she was getting jumped.
Yeah, on video in the park.
And we're sending videos of police doing what they do, but we ain't.
Okay, because that sounds like accountability. Because somehow somebody gonna blame that shit on the system. But anyway, so she's 16 years old. Her name is Kalila Brown. She's been missing for 2 weeks. I posted her link up here. Please, grandmother, any leads you can have, please let us know. I just pray that she gets home safely because we know that we have a lot of missing people and everybody's not locked up in somebody's basement. So hopefully if you've seen something, you know something, please let us know. It is our duty to take care of each other. And I know this is not as popular as Ms. Farrakhan getting boycotted off of Facebook, but God damn it, we got to find the people. Everybody is a value. Everybody is a value. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And like I said, we don't win overtime, but I think it was important to go overtime. It seemed like more folks were able to chime in and kind of, put their P's and Q's to everything. So that is keep on. So the girl's still missing, right?
Yeah, she's still missing.
We got to keep on sharing that. I'm going to repost it again. We got to keep on sharing that. Also, like I said, this is not a knock on, Farrakhan, because I don't want anybody to think that we're being negative towards our brother Farrakhan. We support the brother in many ways. Everything we do is not about judgment. It's just about accountability. So we're not going to go into the things that we feel he should or we should, but I think that it's about time that we understand to have an even playing field, to have a more balanced attack. We got to have our own things that we can kind of bring to the table. That's just all I know. Like I don't want to marry a person with bad credit, and I got bad credit too. I don't want to marry a person that, you know what I'm saying, ain't got a car and ain't got no resources to get a car. I just ain't trying to marry someone that's living in the gutter and I'm sitting here kind of living in a better life. You know what I mean?
Right on.
That's not saying that you just kind of throw away those that haven't made it, but if you're like 40-some years old
Right on.
and you're still trying to figure out certain things that you should already figured out, you know what I mean? I think that we got to look at that. And I don't think any of us would be like, okay, I'm going to marry to that, or I'm going to succumb myself to that. So that's why I'm saying to us, we have to do better at understanding that if we're not welcome here, then guess what? Let's get our asses out and create our own.
Right on. All right, Barry, let's just get wrapping up out of here. We went over, but it was a great over. It was great.
We
I
didn't
think
really
it's
argue
nicer.
like I was.
No, that's because we got it lined up. But it's really okay.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great conversation. What we would have to do is maybe next time talk about, because that was an actual meeting. And maybe we can look at that. Because I'm like you, Barry. Most times I can't stand a meeting. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I get really turned off. You can ask me how many meetings I've been at. I really don't like doing meetings, but sometimes I think it's good just to have dialogue.
Yeah.
Because dialogue sometimes equals change. Like it's good to know how people really think.
Yeah.
That's why I like to listen to people, because sometimes when you listen, you get to hear the real bullshit.
I just like the dialogue with action, and action with dialogue with folks that really are going to be about doing something purposely, not just doing something and just walk back to the crib and just post about it and nothing gets done.
Or from here, we all going to the club.
Exactly.
Because somebody said that to me, and I was listening. They was like, everybody here gonna be going to the club.
For sure.
So I'm right there with you, brother.
No doubt.
All right, family.
Next week. Peace.
Peace. Okay, hold on. I was able to get some graphics in there too, Mary. See, this is YouTube. But I learned something.